Hi peeps, Hillbilly Halfwit today, how are you? Had a day off yesterday, went to see some lead mines that I've driven past for years and years since I was a kid, and I stopped there and had a look yesterday, and it was actually pretty good. So, what we're going to talk about today, I wasn't sure what to talk about today until I was talking to my missus before and her brother, and we started talking about communism and various things, not in a row way or anything. And I'd like to sort of say about my political change around, really. These days, people always look at me, really, I think, as a right-wing loon or whatever. I'm not at all. Now, in my earlier years, up until my later 20s, I suppose, I was sort of pro-communism a little bit. Because, you know, the idealistic thing about it. And I was pro-Tony Benn and still pro-Tony Benn. And trouble is, when you're young, you don't realise it's all idealistic. And if it worked perfectly, it'd be okay, but it doesn't. The trouble is, it's like Lord of the Flies. The people who follow communism and like it, who are idealistic, and I would say pretty nice thinking people, only want the best for everybody, don't realise that, like Lord of the Flies, the people who aren't like that get to be in charge. They realise that these people can be manoeuvred around to do the things that they want so they can get more of everything. Now, I realised that in my late 20s, really. And so I moved away from that more into the middle of everything. And now I've especially seen in the last 10 years at least, maybe 15 years, our political parties have moved left and left me where I am. So where I'm still exactly where I am in my political beliefs, more for the individual and that sort of thing. Of course helping everybody, but more for individual rights. I've noticed the left and even the Conservative Party now, and the other parties have moved towards the left. They've moved from most of the population, and they prefer, like Lord of the Flies, they prefer to force others to their will because they think they should do that. They're forgetting about people's individual rights. So now, a person like me, who's just a normal person back 20 years ago, who thought like Tony Benn, is considered right-wing in these thoughts because he believes that the country should have secure borders. That's not right-wing. That's just right. We all know that. And what we got now, we've got a gullible younger population at the moment, and I don't say they're all bad people. They're very gullible. They're being led by very nasty people, like the Dale Vinces of this world, who've realised that they can get people to follow them and get power over other people, half of the population. Because there's only sort of really a couple of million vegans or vegetarians in the UK, and they're deciding what the rest of the population, 70 million, so 65 million people are being decided by a few nutcases, in my opinion. That's what Lord of the Flies really is. It's where, like that book I read years ago. I would suggest anybody to give that book to their children, buy it for Christmas. It's The Animal Farm by George Orwell. That changed my life. I read that book, and then that's what changed my opinions. And I suddenly realised what you're thinking about. Like I said, I'm not a right-wing person, I'm just right. I'm in the middle. I'm a normal person who believes, like 90% of the population, that don't do things to others that you don't want to happen to yourself. Don't bully other people. Make life as easy as you can for the poor and elderly in society and look after them. And try to help people get work. And don't push your views onto others. But at the moment, I don't think that's being taught certainly in university. We've got these people who I say, like Lord of the Flies, teaching the children what they should think. And it's quite worrying seeing it happen. Seeing really nice people, who are not bad people, have these ideas being pushed into their heads when they come back from a university or something that were not like that before. And it's slightly like a Hitler Youth thing, I think, where they're learning this thing where they think others who don't agree with them are all bad people. I think it's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And lots of parties have got that in these days. And don't get me wrong, Nigel Farage and them lot, once they get into power and things, they will start to get that sort of complex. It always happens. But we must learn to keep them under control by keeping check on everybody. The other three parties now, they're a lost cause. They've been run by people outside the country, and I think we're having the EU thinks it's sort of Rome, really. That's what it wants to be. It's a trading bloc. It thinks it's a country, and the WEF and these 4 or 5 large companies like BlackRock and others are running the world, and they're giving orders out to these things, and we're not having it. Certainly I ain't anyway. So we need to put your foot down and say no to these things. 25 needs to be a year we say no. And as people said in the comments below, we need to stop paying council tax and things like that to get these people to wake up. Now, hopefully in Wales now, certainly in Wales, this next election in a few years, it's going to absolutely be like a bomb going off in the Welsh Senedd. Good. It needs to happen. We've got mild-mannered looking people in there that are actually full-on communists. They want to force us to their will. And that's what's going on. So there we are. That's the chat today. I didn't know what I was going to talk about today, and that's why I think people like following me, because I just think and talk about what's on my mind, and it just comes naturally. I'm not a bad person. I like to take the mickey out of people who are trying to get power over us, and for that my channel gets a lot of hassle off YouTube, and then certainly over Christmas time the switch has been switched off, definitely, since I did that first Keir Starmer video. But the thing is, I don't care, because it's nice to have you all watching, but I don't care. I'm going to still keep putting stuff out if they try and stop me or not. So that isn't what it's about. It's about doing the right thing. So please subscribe, share and like, and hope you all have a happy new year. Ta-da.